Hey everyone, welcome back to Balance Insights. I am Sierra Thomas and I am so excited to be here with you all today. I have a very special guest, a very familiar face here at Touche, Miss Tonnisha J, English-Amamoo now. And she is here today and we are here to discuss all things year-end planning. Before we jump in though, I'll let her just explain who she is and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I'm Tonnisha. My company is TJE Communications. We provide digital marketing solutions to small businesses and nonprofits. Most recently, I became a certified business coach, so that's something new. And I'm also launching Black Women in Biz, which will be a community for Black women to find resources, support, business coaching, and community.
Awesome.
So happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. I mean, you're a familiar face, you're a client, of course, a friend. And so I'm excited to have you here as we talk about the year end, as we wrap up 2024, which I cannot believe that we are at the end of the year. I feel that the year end, quarter 4 year end is just the most critical time of the year for businesses because it's more so a make or break, a make or break moment. You can evaluate how your business did, or you can actually put some, put the pedal to the metal and actually achieve some goals during the fourth quarter of the year.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to kind of get your input on year end planning, how you plan for the year end with your clients, how do you kind of transition into the new year, and why do you think it's important?
Yeah, so I don't know about other marketing agencies, but typically around this time, you start to get the slowdown.
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily taking on new clients. If you were going to work with clients through holiday season, by now you probably already have them.
Okay.
And so this is a time to really start looking back at any strategic plans or communication plans that you had for the year and kind of start to assess, where are we?
Right.
If we had these huge goals, are we close to meeting them? If not, like you said, like going in hard to figure out, okay, how can we start to get closer to those goals if we have not already got there?
Yes.
And so a lot of times it is a time to start thinking about that off season and how we're going to handle it. I do have clients that take breaks for the holiday.
Okay.
And so I'm not only thinking about my clients, but I'm thinking about my long to-do list of things that I was supposed to do, that now I'm going to have that time to be able to take a break and I guess a break from clients, but to really start cleaning up some things that I wanted to work on for myself in business too.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. And just from a financial perspective, I mean, we work together, and so I like to use this time of year just to kind of evaluate, like you said, what went well, what didn't go well. Is there anything that we can do right now to adjust and kind of, just kind of finish strong for the end of the year, or what do we need to do next year differently? And so I like to look at some key performance metrics. Of course, from a financial standpoint, those look a little different than marketing, but I like to look at the profit margin and, your year over year growth rate and things of that nature. Are there any specific like metrics that you look at with your clients and measure how well their marketing has
Yeah,
done?
so typically at the beginning of the year, we set or determine what our key performance indicators are.
Okay.
So usually when it comes to marketing, it's actually not followers, which most people assume, but it's also our impact. So if we wanted to grow our followers, maybe that was a part of it. If we wanted to grow our email list, if we wanted to build brand awareness, how have we been able to do that?
Got it.
What thing have we been mentioned in the media this year? Have we had speaking opportunities? Have we had opportunities for partnerships? What things have we done in the marketing world that have led to more exposure for the business or the organization overall? So typically I work with a lot of nonprofits.
Okay.
So we're looking at, if we did a annual report from last year, are we close to where those numbers were? If we set some goals, are we close to where that is? What has our true impact been? How
Got
many people have we been able to serve compared to the year
it.
before?
Right. Right.
And so that's really how we determine success, is
Okay.
really impact.
Got it.
If you're an influencer, then maybe your idea of success would be growing your followers. I think there's like a misconception with marketing about what what should those goals be,
Right.
and I really think it's different for
For each
everybody.
business, yeah.
Yeah, because for me, if I have 10 followers but they comment, like, share everything I do
Hmm.
versus 100 followers and nobody does it, like,
Yeah.
I take the 10.
Yeah. Oh,
Because at least
absolutely.
I can get those 10 to convert, I can get those 10 to buy stuff, I
Yes.
can get those 10 people to take action when I'm calling for action.
Yes. Yes.
If you're getting to this time of year and as you're reviewing your marketing numbers and maybe you're confused about, what were my goals? I would suggest looking at where you are right now, and then really thinking about how where you are has that impacted your business financially in a good way or a bad
Yeah.
way, and then how can you take from that as you start planning for next year.
Okay, that's very, very valuable. Now, if you're doing a specific marketing campaign, is that also how you kind of manage if it's effective, or are there other, measurable items that you look at to see how effective a specific marketing campaign is, like for
Yeah,
holiday season, for
yeah.
example?
Holiday is a great example. Typically, for holiday campaigns, we are kind of setting those goals at the beginning. If we want to hit, 100K, or we want to sell 100 bottles of shampoo, or something like that. And so, what we're doing is not just making a plan, but if you work in retail, you know that you have to make contingency plans.
Yeah.
And so, if we're gonna sell these shirts and the sale is gonna be, 25% off, if we kind of start to lose profit margin,
Mm-hmm.
do we pivot and like the next day it's only gonna be
15. Right,
15%,
right, right.
or do we bump it up
Okay.
and make it 30% if you're on our mailing list? So you kind of think about different ways that you can play with the numbers to be
Okay.
able to hit those
Got
goals.
it.
So typically you're setting those plans. And honestly, I worked in corporate retail, and by now, so we're filming this in October,
Mm-hmm.
we would have started talking about our holiday plan in July.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
so for small businesses though, we're a little more agile, so we can pivot quicker. But if you are planning for holiday, like now's the time to
To
start thinking about that,
ASAP.
especially because a lot of stores have been starting their Black Friday sales so early.
Yes.
So I mean,
I
it's
feel
it's
like
still a
each
good
year it
time.
gets earlier and
Yeah,
earlier every
yeah.
year. Yeah. Yeah. So as we're transitioning from, the end of the year and going into 2025, are there any specific marketing strategies that you could, that you can provide some advice on to our listeners or our viewers as to what they should maybe look out for going into the new year?
Yes, for sure. I feel like social media has become a place where people really crave authenticity.
Hmm.
So, being true to who you are as a business. If you don't typically market certain products, let's say you're an influencer, you don't have to start doing it because other people are doing it.
Right.
Staying true to who you are. People are really into finding marketers that speak to their niche. So, if you really, I mean, there's this girl on TikTok who loves pink everything.
Yeah.
So, like, her kitchen is pink, all of her utensils are pink, all of her appliances are pink, and like, that's her thing.
Yeah.
If somebody were to ask her to advertise a blue blender
Hmm.
and she did it because they were offering her a lot of money, that's very off brand for
Right.
who she is.
Yeah. For
It
sure.
wouldn't make sense for her audience and it wouldn't make sense for her.
Yeah.
So I highly suggest that, people just take a step back from social media. Remember that it's not real life.
Yeah.
Um, It's more of an imitation of life. It's more of a place to go for inspiration, not necessarily a playbook for how to do things exact.
Mm-hmm.
And really think about who they are and how they want to market themselves. I mean, even with me having a marketing agency, primarily doing social media and email marketing, there's so many other people that do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be true to myself if I tried to, promote myself or do things how these other people are doing it, just because it appears
Yes.
that they're more successful,
Mm-hmm.
which more followers doesn't necessarily mean that that's the
Yeah.
case. So I would just suggest for people to really just stay true to who they are, and you'll have more fun when you're being authentic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most of the time when you are not being yourself and you're not crafting your brand based off of something that's authentic, you hit a wall
Yeah.
because there's only so far you can go with
Mhm.
trying, not being your true authentic self. So
Yeah.
I do agree
Yeah.
with that. Now, you mentioned your business coaching.
Yeah.
So you finished as a certified business coach. I'm
Mhm.
actually going through the same program,
Yeah.
which is very intense.
Yes.
And but I am actually learning a lot. So
Mhm.
because you've finished and you've graduated with the program and you're kind
Mhm.
of now into the business coaching world, can you kind of explain to us like the importance of having a business coach, especially
Yeah.
during this time of year when you're trying to most businesses are trying to figure out what their next move is or
Yeah.
what they should be doing next year. So can you talk to us about like the importance of having a business coach?
Yeah, and I would just say too that like a lot of really good coaches have coaches, mentors
Yeah,
have
for
mentors.
sure.
So being a coach, I don't feel like it is a one stop, like, okay, now I'm a coach, so like I know everything, because I definitely don't.
Right.
And it was really important for me to go through the program specifically because um speaking to authenticity, there are a lot of people who, slap the name coach on at the front of their title, but don't necessarily have the tools to really give people what they need.
Right.
Or, maybe taking on clients that don't exactly align just because you
Oh, that's
need
a good
the
one.
the money.
Yes.
Which we've been there
Right.
as small business owners when you're
Yes.
first starting off. I've even heard people say that you don't need to own a business to be a business coach or have business experience, which is
Hmm.
interesting. So it was really important for me to not only go through the program, but to apply some of those lessons from the program into what I'm trying to do for my business. I'm working with a coach who specifically works with people who have marketing
Okay.
agencies. And so when it comes to finding a coach, I'd highly suggest working with someone that has experiences working with businesses that are similar to
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
So, if you're an accounting business,
Mm.
working with a business coach who owns an accounting
Yes.
firm
Yeah.
and is also a business coach and has experience, starting, building, working with clients in accounting.
Exactly.
Or at best, someone who comes from the accounting world
Hmm.
and now they are coaching accounting businesses.
Yeah.
And there's so many coaches out there, so it shouldn't be hard to
Right.
find
Right. Right.
somebody that
Right.
specializes in what you do.
Hmm.
But that would be, the first thing. And then also a coach can just see things from an overview perspective,
Exactly.
like from that bird's
Bird's eye
eye
view.
view.
Yes.
When you're in the business and you're like doing everything every day, you kind of just get used to like how things are going.
Yeah.
But if somebody can just kind of pluck you out and say, "Hey, look at it from up here,"
Yeah.
you can start to see like, okay, I
Absolutely.
can do this a little bit differently. I can shift this. And also, too, with coaches, from working with so many business owners, we may not realize it in our business, but there's a lot of patterns that they're seeing. Like,
Hmm.
I've seen this same thing so many times. Like, with the coach I'm working with, his whole thing is like going from hustler to CEO.
Yes.
He's seen so many times where you're an agency, so you're in hustle
Hmm.
mode,
Hmm.
where you feel like I'm the only person that can do this, so I'm gonna do it. And so when you work with coaches that are specialized and they're able to give you that bird's eye view.
Right.
I think it's really helpful for any business owner.
For sure.
I mean, even top level CEOs of $1 million businesses have coach, and those coaches make a lot of
Oh,
money.
absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
they do. They do.
Yeah.
So, when you work with your clients, do you like establish goals with your clients? I know for me, just getting into the coaching, and I feel like I've been coaching for a while. I'm actually
Now
going
you
through the
actually have
actual
it,
the
right.
formality of it,
Right.
but I usually like to set up, goals
Mhm.
and we call them SMART goals. So,
Yes.
specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely.
Mhm.
Is there a metric that you use, or how do you help your clients set up goals, and how do you measure
Yeah.
those goals?
Same thing,
Yeah.
using SMART goals. And everyone's goals are different, but I definitely make sure to know that if you're coming here for more followers, that's not what I do.
Yeah.
Um, I focus on brand awareness, and mission focused goals. So, Motherful is a local organization that services over 600 single moms
Wow.
throughout Central
Mhm.
Ohio. And so, our mission is to provide resources and support to single mothers. That's the mission.
Right.
So, if we're serving 10,000 moms, but we don't have 10,000 followers, I don't care.
Yeah.
We're serving 10,000 moms. We're able to have strategic partnerships through our marketing efforts, through our partnerships to be able to service all these moms, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
And really, when it comes to marketing, if you're working with nonprofits, it's really the donors and the foundations that want to see that marketing to provide you with the funding
Okay.
to continue your
Right.
mission.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the average person. I mean, I have another nonprofit that I work with, People's Justice Project, and the mission is to build power for Black and Brown people.
Okay.
And so, a lot of our donations and funding is not coming from individual donors. It's coming from those big philanthropists
Yeah.
and those big foundations
Yes.
that will, pour
Right.
into organizations that are doing that work. It's not individuals.
Yes.
And so that's really what our marketing is built for, to show the donors, hey, look at all the cool things that we're doing. Look at the impact that we're having.
Right.
And so, yeah, it comes down to truly what is our goal as an organization. Our goal as an organization will translate into or transfer into how we approach social media,
Mhm.
how we approach email marketing, how we may approach if we want to do a radio spot. It really just depends on what the mission is.
Yeah.
And I would just love for people to, if you think about it from there first, and then let that spread into social media and
Mhm.
everything else, it'll be so much easier to create content.
Yeah.
All the time people are like, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to post. Like, you have so much to post.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if we're looking at your mission, you do.
Yeah.
But if we're focused on growing followers, then that's when there's the disconnect of
Yeah.
like, well, I
I
don't
can
know
see
what
that.
to do.
For sure. For sure. I can see that.
Yeah.
So, as we're going into just the new year, are there
Mhm.
any specific trends that businesses, or even from a marketing perspective, or just simply from a business perspective, are there any trends that we should look out for? I know AI is starting to kind of take off. So are there any
Yes.
specific trends that you could speak to?
I think
Uh,
AI is a great one. I use Canva. Sorry to all the real designers. I don't know how to use Adobe Suite, but I'm a Canva pro.
yeah.
And so Canva has integrated a lot of AI to help you design your
Oh, wow.
work.
Okay.
Of course, Chat GPT is a
Mhm.
great one that everyone's using. So yes, AI, even if you don't have to be a master at it, but I would definitely take the time to learn it and teach it, but just be careful not to give it personal information.
Got it.
But you can't, because I mean it pulls from everything you put in there.
Yeah.
It's spread out for
Oh,
everybody.
wow.
So I would just be mindful about that.
Okay.
But yes, AI is a good one. I would also look into social media platforms.
Okay.
The way that they work has evolved
Mhm.
over time. I'm still a Twitter person on a personal
Oh,
level,
wow. I
but
haven't
not
heard
for
about Twitter in so
business.
long.
it's hilarious from if you're there for personal reasons.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Black Twitter, it's there. If you're in it, you know what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
So yes, good times over there on Twitter. Not so much for business necessarily. Unless you're into politics and stuff, there's definitely a way for you there, a journalist. TikTok. There was the huge scare about TikTok being
Yes.
sold and not available here. It's still alive and kicking.
Okay.
From what I've
Yeah.
kind of seen, it sounds like the creators are creating something else that might be connected and similar. That might be their loophole right now. But so far, TikTok is still here. So I would say if you already are using TikTok or you're thinking about it, just do it because it's there.
Yeah.
Um, Instagram, we know that Reels kind of was I guess a reaction to TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah.
So I would continue to do that and just have fun,
Yeah.
I feel like we overthink. We
Yeah.
overthink it.
Yeah.
People want to see, going back to authenticity, people want to see the real you. Um, and as small business owners, we don't have the luxury to not show our face.
For sure.
Which I know a lot of us I don't mind.
Well, I'm that one. I'm probably that percentage that does not want to show their face.
I don't.
More of
I
a
don't
behind the scenes type person.
And I think that's okay if you have somebody else who's like willing to be that face.
Right.
But I've been seeing you post the podcast, so that's helpful.
I'm getting out of that comfort zone.
Yeah. But people want to see like who, if as with Coca-Cola, if I saw their CEO, I wouldn't know.
No, you're right.
But it's a huge company,
For sure.
right? So they're investing in huge campaigns where they have the luxury to not show their face, or maybe they have a celebrity that's the face. Like I think T-Pain right now has something with rallies and checkers. So like all their content is T-Pain.
Yeah.
So they kind of have that luxury, whereas small business owners, like, I mean, if I could get, Nikki, or I'm a Kim K fan. I don't care what nobody says. I love Kim Kardashian. If I could get her to just like come over here and do a TikTok for me, then I would do that if I had the money, but I don't. So showing your face too. People want to see the person behind the camera. But like let's say you are like a chef or something. There's a lot of faceless social media pages where it's just hands cooking.
Yes.
So you could get away with
but
it. It just
I
depends.
feel like the quality of that work speaks for itself, because if it's something that looks really good, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy this no matter who it is.
It's harder for a service-based
sure.
business to not show your face.
Exactly. No, I do agree with that. I definitely do. So as we kind of wrap up, how do businesses, whether you are a solopreneur or you're just a smaller organization, how do you set budgets for marketing? I know for me, what I do with my clients, if they're just starting out, I normally say, let's start with like 5% of revenue. Do you recommend that clients invest more on the front end, or should they just kind of figure out what they're marketing? Because I know for me, and I know a lot of clients, they want to see instantaneous results when they pay. And I have told my clients, you need to wait about 3 to 6 months. So how do you, like, what advice do you give to small businesses as they start to develop these budgets?
Yeah, I like the 5% for sure. You're not going to get instant results unless you're pouring a lot of money into advertising.
Got it.
If you are, then you'll see quicker results than if you're building organically.
Got it.
Organic building of your marketing takes time. It takes patience. It takes a lot of legwork. And it costs money.
It costs,
and people assume that, well, it's free for me to make an Instagram, so why should I pay this marketing agency like $5,000? Because that takes manpower to create content that is specific to your business. There are businesses out there that create kind of like a cookie cutter strategy, which, if you want to start there just to start building or putting out content, you can with stock images and all that. But I mean, it costs money to, if y'all could see the other side of this whole setup that we got going on here, like
Oh yes.
all this fancy equipment,
Yes.
this costs money, okay?
Yes.
There's a whole person here with headphones doing this. This costs
The team is legit
time.
here.
The team is here, okay? This costs money, time, there's equipment, and this is just one piece of marketing.
For sure.
Because now they're going to have to take the audio. There's 3 cameras, okay? They're going to have to clip the videos from all 3 cameras, both of our mics, and they're going to have to figure out how to sync that up, cut it for content, put it on a video, and put it on audio. And that's just one piece of marketing, okay?
Shout out
Not to mention, if we're doing social media, you have beautiful photography. That costs money.
Absolutely.
You have this pop-up banner. That costs money. You have these lovely things right here. This is money. Somebody had to design this and print it. So there's a lot that goes into marketing that I don't think people really understand.
Yeah.
And so when I first started my business, I pretty much just took anybody that wanted to pay. And that didn't work out because since they weren't getting those instant results and they weren't willing to put dollars into advertising, then they were just like ready to be done.
Yeah.
And so now I only take on business owners that are fully operational.
Okay.
If this is still your side job, I know that once you do decide to quit your job and money gets tight, marketing is always the first thing to go.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing to let go.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would prefer to work with business owners or companies that are fully already operational, even if they're solopreneurs, but they're operational. Yeah. In minimum of 6 months, because it takes about 3 months to get into a groove of figuring out what we want to do, and then another 3 months to like actually watch our plan work.
Exactly.
And so, which with a lot of nonprofits, which is why I love them, when they go out and get grants, they're getting a grant and they're writing in a marketing budget. Right. So that is guaranteed money that I know I'm going to get as a business owner.
Yeah.
So I would suggest for anybody who is not operational to try to do it on your own.
Yeah.
It is possible. It takes time.
Oh, yes.
I would learn how to use Canva. I would learn how to schedule content and just make sure that you're getting on social media and engaging with people. You could even maybe find somebody that will create some Canva templates for you, create some newsletter templates for you so you can at least start doing something. But there's just a misconception that marketing doesn't cost a lot of money, and it can, depending on what you want to do. Absolutely. If you have these huge, goals of like having a podcast and having printed materials and having a website and social media, that takes a lot of time. So, I would suggest seeing what you can do on your own, because at least if you try it on your own and then you realize how much work it is, you'll understand the value that comes with paying somebody to do it.
Absolutely. Well, Tonnisha, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate all of your advice, and I'm sure our listeners, our viewers, they appreciate it too. But before we just jump off, tell us where they can find you.
Yes, you can go to my website, tjecommunications.com. I do free business consultations all the time. You can also go on there to learn about Black Women in Biz, which is coming soon. But yeah, just go there and you can find everything and join my mailing list there too.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Balance Insights this week. Make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, you're following us on all social media platforms, and you are sharing this episode and all of our other episodes. Until next time, we'll see you.